So, Commissioner Kinteh, we were talking about your interaction with the witnesses.
Witnesses,
Do
yeah.
you guys often have a prior knowledge of who is the next witness, who the next witness is?
Most common than not, we know it few minutes before their appearance. Of course, yes, on few occasions, seldom, we will be told tomorrow to expect someone tomorrow.
With the person's name mentioned?
Yes, of course, seldom. Seldom.
Like in the case of Sana Sabali or high profiles?
No, even Sana, you'll be amazed that we didn't know Sana was coming until that morning.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but in some instances, if we think especially victims, if they are very fragile,
Okay.
we are warned as to our questioning pattern, so that we don't re-traumatize and so on. This type of person will be told us that is timid, is been seriously affected, and so on. In those instances, few occasions, we are told in advance, at least 12 hours or so in advance. 12, 14 hours in advance. That's the closure of every day, the following day. We were told such individual is coming.
Okay.
But otherwise, even we as commissioners, we are taken by surprise.
Okay.
The only thing we edge over people is that at least we know it few minutes before we interact.
Okay.
People will know it when they see it on the screen. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, we don't interact. We leave it exclusively with the technicians. And that's why during our meeting, we said a lot of things happen behind the scene. All right? The investigators will have to authenticate the veracity of the information or whatever. The legal counsel will also go to give legal advice, enlighten the person as to the rights and what can be enjoyed if the person tells the truth, and so on.
So being a commissioner requires a lot of listening skills and attentiveness, because you sit there, I mean, you listen to them talk and then you jot down notes, and then that's how you ask
Certainly.
your questions.
And that's how you can also detect lapses. When there are lapses, you can detect it because you are listening very keenly, and in some instances you are taking note. Yes, perfection is not easy, and so on. So even the legal people, as they probe their questions and so on, there could be gaps. So it should be the responsibility of the commissioners to be attentive enough, vigilant enough, to be able to detect those so that the links are connected.
Commissioner Kinteh has been widely accused of being very arrogant, impatient, and like you yell and scream a lot, I mean, during the sittings. What is your reaction to people who feel that way?
Absolutely. I don't think maybe that's an exaggeration. Yes, of course, I'm very keen about trying to come to the truth. And I'm not very easy with people who tend to tell blatant lies. These are exceptional cases. Like, this is not how I'm behaving on victims. And a good number of perpetrators also have not been behaving that way. Because the idea is, this is a truth-seeking commission. You are way down there. You are accused of killing Gambians in the most gruesome ways and so on. When you come to narrate, you are expected to show some amount of remorse. Obviously, killing a human being illegally, alone, is an issue. Much more your own fellow countryman or woman. And you don't even show any regret, no remorse. And you cannot tell us the truth, so that which will help us for our healing process that we are yearning for. I feel after being unfair for all what you have done, if you still persist and continue being unfair to us, yes, I'm a human being. I've been trained to control emotions, to try to manage my emotions and so on. I try my best, but sometimes it will flow out.
One particular instance that stood out was your interaction with Njai Ponkal.
Yes.
You were widely criticized for that with the way you just went off on Njai Ponkal. And they're like, what was responsible for that?
Yeah, even after all what has happened outside the periphery of what he did to people, he has been mentioned very frequently. He has been very instrumental in those dealings and so on. Fine. If he has, and he cannot come out and tell us the truth about it. Yet, that's a simple issue, which Allah has made me a live witness. He continued lying. So it means even after...
Which issue?
That's the issue of when he was supposed to report to work on Monday. He could not report on Monday and Tuesday because he claimed that his mother was sick and so on. But the excuse he gave did not hold water. It was a blatant lie. So I became irritated. I said,
"This man." He said he was in the provinces in Kuntauru.
Indeed, I was in that Kuntauru. He said he could not make telephone calls because telephones were not available in Kuntauru in those days. Fortunately, in 95, I was in Kinteh, and I knew well that there were more than 100 telephone lines this gentleman could access.
In Kinteh?
In Kinteh. Either through government institutions, private people who have telephones in their homes and can offer such service to their fellow men and women in the community, and also telephone booths and telecenters. So there were a lot of opportunities. And these telephone booths and telecenters weren't charging much.
So he made one claim that you think or believe was wrong or a big lie, and as a result, he became incredible to you and you didn't trust anything else he said. Was that the case?
Yes, of course. Definitely some of the lies he said, after many people mentioned his name, his own colleagues mentioned his names number of times. He denied all of them. He couldn't accept anything. He wouldn't want to take any responsibility at all. And he wasn't doing this, showing any remorse. He, in fact, was sometimes aggressive. So, well, I couldn't see him credible, and I think it's challenging. I also have to tell him, look, we can't go to the extreme. You can't tell us on a blatant lie and you go away with it.
Yeah, but in your case, though, do you think that you can still try to be a little more professional by being calmer and everything? Sometimes Commissioner Kinteh will talk, and even throw the pen down. You get very aggressive. You talk, and you just throw the pen down that you are holding.
Probably,
you just lose it.
Probably this is out of frustration. It is not easy. If it were other people doing this to the Gambians, if such things are happening to Gambians in other lands, and if it has not been perpetrated, it's more understood. But these are things that are happening in the Gambia, happening to Gambians, done to them by Gambians, and it has been, it has been enumerated, and so on, cumulative. Oh, well, fine. I've also been trying to manage my emotions, but nonetheless, sometimes it will spill over. It will flow over.
Since after that Njai Ponkal incident, immediately you became calmer a lot more.
Yes.
If you command the Dumale where you call to the side and address, you must have
exactly. That's why we do debriefing. When after every interaction, we will come back and review and say, oh, Moro, will you just obo battle? Come for battle. Do you just on yabu? Niko be you come for at a ben. At a bedale de fon la heldla. If you can calm down, do near all moy. Nia no fon near finger de will domandate at Amandama Murna. In enjoying it, you can shed out, some of the intensity and so on. And that's how I was coping until, indeed, if you recognize that I had been improving over time, thank God, then I was responsive to criticisms, and because I believe in criticisms. I believe that you have to be criticized.
Did you see these comments? Because a lot of people online, especially vocal people, were
I wasn't. Someone told me. So for me, if you can help me, so that I told you my weakness. if you can help me so that I know the site and I can access it, I can know. But
So you didn't see
no,
that
no, most of
people
them I
who were
didn't.
spoken to
Yes.
by the TRRC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
We've said, sometimes we said we are trained that we manage our emotions and so on. But this happens to not only me. In many instances, anyone at one time or the other, someone,
absolutely had
yeah,
lost it.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
the lead counsel
Even the lead
himself,
counsel
even
himself, at one point he got
the
blue.
chairman himself,
The
especially in
chairman and so on.
Yankuba's case.
Imam Jallo.
Yes.
So, but that's human. You cannot be perfect. Of course, that's why you are trained, so that you can be prepared for the challenges and so on. And also, as you go on, you learn on the job, and you learn on how to adjust to requirements and mode and so on. Yes.
Okay, that's important to know. At least good that you learn from it and you adjust yourself
Exactly.
accordingly. And the
Exactly.
like.
Exactly.
But then, one like you, from what you told us, you were working at the Ministry of Agriculture. You, the director, and the minister were fired, wrongfully fired by Ajame. A lot of people question the credibility of the TRRC from its constitution, from when it was constituted. The executive secretary Baba Gale is a victim himself, and few other people. Yourself, then you must be a victim, not probably human rights. You might not have been tortured or killed or whatever, but then at least you were wrongfully terminated from what you told us. So
Yeah.
if you and the executive secretary and several other people who are working at the commission are victims, a lot of people question the credibility of it. And folks in APRC, for the most part, are always calling it a witch hunt.
Okay. What happened actually to me, myself, mine, I'm not calling it a victimization. You know why? It may have started as victimization, but my rights were observed, and they were given. What happened is
But you were wrongfully terminated.
I was wrongfully terminated, and
From what you said.
very prematurely terminated from my service. But I was paid my dues, even though it was at a lower level. I was given my pension. And our category of victimization, I did not fall in. I have never been called for questioning. Of course, it was politically motivated, but I've never been invited for questioning. I have never, not nowhere was I ever arrested or intimidated or whatever. I was just asked to hand over neatly, which I did, and leave the job, and I did. And in fact, when you come back in the GO, the executive may not be obliged to give reason why he doesn't anymore endorse my work and work for the government. In the agreement, the employment agreement, it is agreed that the executive or me, the employee, can set to the termination of the appointment with 1 month's notice. Now,
From either side.
and none of the sides is obliged to give reasons. I haven't seen it prescribed anywhere that you are obliged to give reasons. So within that, I don't think I concluded by saying that category of victimization I have reached or I have enjoyed. I thought the executive, of course, politically motivated, but they don't need my service anymore, and has terminated it, paid me my dues, and pensioned me. So I found it as a challenge to go out and live a life that will be healthy, decent, and so on, and continue. Life continues. Life goes on.
You are watching the Nyohobai Show on the Gambian Talents TV. Commissioner Kinteh is my guest today, Commissioner Kinteh of the TRRC. You have heard what he said about his victimization and his interaction with the witnesses at the TRRC. We will take a short break and we will return shortly. Don't go anywhere.